Greetings and welcome. Tonight, we will gently delve into a topic that often evokes strong opinions and varying perspectives within the Islamic world: Freemasonry. Our exploration will be a calm and considered one, aiming to understand the key viewpoints and historical context that shape the dominant Islamic perspective on this global fraternal organization. We will not be taking sides or promoting any particular viewpoint, but rather seeking to understand the different strands of thought that exist. So, find a comfortable position, let your mind settle, and allow us to explore this nuanced subject with quiet attention. To understand the Islamic view, it's helpful to first have a basic understanding of Freemasonry itself. Let us trace its origins back to the medieval guilds of stonemasons in Europe. Imagine these skilled craftsmen who built the grand cathedrals and castles of the Middle Ages. They developed their own system of organization, with apprentices, journeymen, and master masons, each level possessing specific knowledge and skills. They had secret signs and grips to identify themselves and protect their trade as they traveled across the land. Over time, particularly in the 17th and 18th centuries, the nature of these lodges began to evolve. Men who were not practicing stonemasons, but who were drawn to the principles of fellowship, morality, and the symbolism of building, began to join. This marked the transition from operative to speculative Freemasonry. The tools of the stonemason, the square, the compass, the plumb line, became allegorical symbols, representing virtues and guiding principles for life. The core tenets of modern Freemasonry, as it emerged in the Age of Enlightenment, often include a belief in a supreme being, referred to as the great architect of the universe, the practice of morality, brotherly love, relief, charity, and truth. Lodges operate based on ancient customs and traditions, with members progressing through a series of degrees marked by rituals and symbolic instruction. A key characteristic of Freemasonry is its secrecy. While they publicly state their core principles, the specific rituals, modes of recognition, and internal workings of the lodge are kept private among members. Furthermore, Freemasonry is non-sectarian, welcoming men of good character from various religious backgrounds, provided they believe in a supreme being. This aspect, as we shall see, becomes a significant point in the Islamic perspective. Now, let us turn our attention to the primary reasons behind the predominantly negative view of Freemasonry within mainstream Islamic scholarship. Over the decades, and particularly in the latter half of the 20th century, numerous Islamic legal bodies and prominent scholars have issued fatwas, religious edicts, that discourage or outright prohibit Muslims from joining the Freemasons. One of the central concerns revolves around the secrecy inherent in Freemasonry. In Islam, transparency and openness are generally encouraged. The idea of secret oaths and rituals raises questions about potential conflicts of loyalty and whether these secret commitments might supersede a Muslim's primary allegiance to Allah and the Islamic community, Ummah. Scholars often argue that a Muslim's life should be open and guided by the clear teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah, the practices of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Another significant point of contention is the concept of the great architect of the universe. While Freemasonry welcomes individuals of different faiths who believe in a supreme being, the non-denominational nature of this concept is viewed by many Muslims as problematic. Islam has a very specific and detailed understanding of God, Allah, as one, unique, and without partners. The idea of a general supreme being that could encompass various deities or interpretations is seen as potentially compromising the core Islamic principle of Tawhid, the oneness of God. Furthermore, concerns have been raised about potential religious syncretism. The rituals and symbolism of Freemasonry draw from various historical and cultural sources, including references to the Temple of Solomon. Some Islamic scholars interpret this as a form of religious mixing or syncretism that could lead Muslims away from the pure and exclusive teachings of Islam. Over time, various historical perceptions and allegations have further solidified the negative view of Freemasonry within some segments of the Islamic world. During the colonial era, some Masonic lodges in Muslim-majority countries were viewed with suspicion, being associated with foreign powers and their political agendas. This led to a perception that Freemasonry could be a tool for external influence and potentially undermine local sovereignty and Islamic values. More significantly, a recurring theme in anti-Masonic literature within the Islamic world involves allegations of a connection to Zionism and a supposed agenda to undermine Islam and Muslim societies. These allegations often draw links between Masonic symbolism related to the Temple of Solomon and a perceived ultimate goal of rebuilding it, which is seen as a direct challenge to Islamic holy sites, particularly Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. While Freemasonry officially denies any such political or religious agenda, these perceptions persist and remain a potent factor in shaping negative views. It is important to note that these allegations are not universally accepted within the Islamic world, and many mainstream Masonic organizations explicitly state their non-political and non-religious nature. However, the historical context and the spread of such allegations have contributed significantly to the prevailing negative sentiment among many Islamic scholars and institutions. While the dominant Islamic perspective, as expressed through official fatwas and the views of many scholars, is one of discouragement or prohibition of Muslims joining Freemasonry, it is important to acknowledge that there have been and continue to be some nuances and alternative views. Individual Muslims, often those residing in Western countries, have become members of Masonic lodges. Their reasons vary, but often include a focus on the fraternity's stated principles of brotherhood, charity, and moral improvement, which they may see as compatible with Islamic values. In lodges with Muslim members, the Quran is sometimes used as the volume of sacred law upon which oaths are taken, demonstrating a degree of accommodation. However, these individual choices and alternative interpretations generally do not align with the official stances of major Islamic organizations. The concerns regarding secrecy, religious pluralism as perceived, and the historical allegations remain significant barriers for most mainstream Islamic authorities. In conclusion, the Islamic view on Freemasonry is largely negative, rooted in concerns about secrecy, differing theological perspectives on the nature of God, historical perceptions of political influence, and persistent allegations of anti-Islamic agendas. While individual Muslims may find ways to reconcile their faith with Masonic membership, the prevailing consensus within major Islamic scholarly bodies remains one of caution and prohibition. Understanding these viewpoints requires a careful consideration of both the stated principles of Freemasonry and the core tenets and historical experiences within the Islamic world. Thank you for joining this calm exploration. May your thoughts be peaceful and your rest be deep. Good night.